It started as a small shadow near the sun. At first, people thought it was a glitch on their phones, a trick of the light. But then more shadows appeared. Dozens. Then hundreds. They were not clouds. Across the world, telescopes turned upward. Satellites sent back clear images. Massive ships hung in orbit above Earth. Each one was larger than any human city. Dark metal. Sharp edges. Silent and still. In London, people stopped in the streets and stared upward. In New York, traffic froze. In Tokyo, trains paused as passengers pressed their faces to windows. The same fear moved across every country. This was not human. Within minutes, every government declared a global emergency. Military forces went on full alert. Fighter jets took off. Warships moved into position. Nuclear silos were unlocked. But no one fired. Because the ships did not attack. They waited. Then the message came. Every screen on Earth flickered at the same time. Phones. Televisions. Billboards. Computers. Even old radios began to speak in a strange, deep voice. The message was short. People of Earth, you are now under the authority of the Imperial Dominion. Surrender your planet peacefully. Resistance will result in extinction. The signal cut off. Silence followed. In a secure command center deep underground, world leaders sat around a circular table. The room was tense. No one spoke at first. The image of the alien fleet glowed above them in holographic form. General Marcus stood near the display. He had served in war for 30 years. He had never looked uncertain before. They outnumber us, he said quietly. And their technology is far ahead of ours. Admiral Hayes crossed his arms. They haven't fired yet. That means they want control, not rubble. Control means slavery, someone replied. The room grew quiet again. Around the world, panic began to spread. Some people rushed to stores. Others prayed. Some cried. But something else was happening too. People were watching. And waiting. Above Earth, inside the largest alien ship, the Imperial commander observed the planet below. He had conquered 12 worlds before this one. Each had fallen quickly. Most surrendered without a fight. This planet looked no different. Primitive satellites. Slow spacecraft. Divided nations. Weak. He gave a simple order. Prepare a demonstration strike. Minutes later, one of the alien ships shifted position. A beam of bright blue light formed beneath it. The beam fired toward Earth. Far below, in the middle of a remote ocean, a small island vanished in an instant. The water around it boiled. A shockwave spread for miles. No cities were hit. No major population centers. It was a warning. The message returned to every screen. This was mercy. Surrender now. Back in the command center, leaders watched the destruction. The loss of life was confirmed. The power behind the weapon was beyond anything Earth had seen. General Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. They think fear will break us, he said. Admiral Hayes looked at the orbital map again. Small blinking dots surrounded the planet. Old satellites. Communication arrays. Weather systems. But not all of them were what they seemed. Maybe fear is what they expect, Hayes replied. Across the globe, secret facilities activated. Deep underground bunkers powered up systems that had been hidden for decades. Engineers entered codes. Massive machines began to hum. Humanity had always feared the unknown. Asteroids. Solar flares. Invasion. Plans had been made long ago. In space, several satellites shifted slightly. Their outer panels opened. Inside were long metal rails and heavy tungsten rods. On the alien flagship, warning lights flashed. Unidentified energy spike detected, an officer reported. Before the commander could respond, a streak of light shot from Earth's orbit. Then another. And another. The first alien frigate did not even have time to turn its shields fully on. A tungsten rod traveling at extreme speed pierced straight through its hull. The ship exploded in a burst of fire and debris. Shock spread through the alien fleet. More strikes followed. Precise. Fast. Silent. On Earth, General Marcus watched the screen as the first enemy ship burned. He did not smile. "This is only the beginning," he said. Above the planet, the Imperial Armada was no longer waiting calmly. It was under attack. And for the first time in many years, the conquerors of worlds understood something unexpected. Earth was not surrendering. Earth was fighting back. Flames spread across its hull. Metal broke apart and drifted into space. For a moment, the massive Imperial fleet looked frozen. They had not expected resistance. On Earth, millions watched the burning wreck on live broadcasts. Fear was still there, but something new began to grow. Hope. Inside the underground command center, alarms echoed softly. Data streamed across large screens. Engineers and officers worked fast but calm. General Marcus stood behind them, hands behind his back. "How many confirmed hits?" he asked. "3 enemy frigates destroyed," a technician answered. "2 more heavily damaged." Admiral Hayes nodded slowly. "They're adjusting shields." On the main screen, the alien fleet began to move. Large ships shifted position, forming tighter formations. Smaller craft spread out like metal insects. "They learn fast," Marcus said. Above Earth, the Imperial commander stared at the destruction in disbelief. No primitive world had ever struck his fleet like this. "Scan their weapons," he ordered. The answer came quickly. "Kinetic projectiles, Commander. High velocity. Launched from orbiting platforms." "Primitive," the commander said, though his voice was tight. "Destroy all orbital objects immediately." Hundreds of alien fighters launched from the fleet. They moved with terrifying speed toward Earth satellites. On Earth, radar screens filled with red dots. "They're going after the platforms," Hayes said. Marcus gave a small nod. Phase 2. In different parts of the world, hidden bunkers opened. Missile silos rose from the ground. Submarines deep in the ocean adjusted course. The alien fighters reached the first satellite and opened fire. Blue beams cut through space, destroying one platform instantly. But as the fighters celebrated too early, something unexpected happened. Several destroyed satellites exploded with powerful bursts of electromagnetic energy. The EMP waves spread through the alien formation. Fighter controls flickered. Navigation systems failed. Some ships spun out of control and collided with each other. They hit EMP charges inside the platforms, an alien officer shouted. More human rail strikes followed. Even damaged satellites fired their final shots before exploding. In the command center, Marcus watched carefully. "They think this is our full strength." Hayes gave a slight smile. "It isn't." On the surface of Earth, people began to notice something unusual. The internet was still working. Power grids were still running. Emergency systems were stable. Humanity had prepared. Years ago, secret global defense programs had begun quietly. Rival nations had cooperated in silence. They had built backup systems underground, hardened networks, independent power sources. They had never trusted peace to last forever. Above the atmosphere, the alien fleet regrouped. The Imperial commander felt anger rising inside him. "Deploy planetary assault units," he commanded. "Crush their cities. Break their will." Large carrier ships opened. Dropships poured out, heading toward Earth's major population centers. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, Delhi. On Earth, air defense systems activated instantly. Missile batteries locked on. Fighter jets climbed into the sky. The first wave of dropships entered the atmosphere. Fire surrounded them as they pushed downward. Missiles struck several, turning them into burning debris that rained into the ocean. But many continued through. In New York, people ran as dark shapes passed overhead. In London, sirens screamed through the streets. Inside one descending dropship, alien soldiers prepared for battle. They expected chaos. They expected civilians to panic and scatter. Instead, as the first ship landed near a major city, it was met with heavy resistance. Human tanks rolled from hidden garages. Drone swarms rose from rooftops. Snipers waited in reinforced buildings. The first alien squad stepped onto the ground. They were cut down within seconds. Across the world, similar scenes unfolded. Coordinated defense. Organized response. No surrender. General Marcus watched reports come in from every continent. They thought we were divided, he said. Admiral Hayes crossed his arms. They still do. Above Earth, the Imperial commander received battlefield updates. Assault units were failing. Losses were increasing. This is impossible, one officer said. Their tactics are unified. The commander's eyes narrowed. Then they have already chosen extinction. He gave a new order. The largest ship in the Armada began to glow. Energy gathered at its core, brighter than before. On Earth, sensors detected the buildup instantly. Marcus looked at the screen. They're preparing something bigger. Hayes spoke calmly. Yes, they are. The world held its breath again. But this time, humanity was not waiting in fear. It was ready for the next move. It was far bigger than the others. It did not move like a normal warship. It stayed in the center of the fleet, heavy and silent. Now energy gathered at its core. Blue light pulsed across its surface. On Earth, warning alarms filled every command center. Energy levels rising fast, a technician said. This is not a small weapon. General Marcus stared at the screen. Target. Unknown. But power output suggests city-level destruction. Admiral Hayes spoke calmly. They are done playing. Across the world, people saw the glow in the sky. Even without telescopes, it was visible. A bright star forming in daylight. Fear returned. But deep underground, something else was waking up. For decades, Earth had built more than rail platforms and missiles. There were projects never spoken about. Plans made during Cold Wars and global tensions. Some leaders had called them unnecessary. They were wrong. In a desert facility, a heavy steel door opened slowly. Inside stood a massive underground rail cannon, larger than any orbital platform. Its barrel was angled upward through a hidden mountain shaft. Engineers rushed into position. Power grid stable. Magnetic coils charging. Target lock pending. Similar systems powered up in other secret locations. Old nuclear sites had been rebuilt into kinetic launch stations. Deep-sea platforms rose silently from the ocean. General Marcus received confirmation. All ground-based long-range systems are online. He nodded once. Wait for the right moment. Above Earth, the alien flagship reached full charge. The Imperial commander raised his hand. Fire. A beam of pure energy shot downward. But at the last second, Earth moved. Hundreds of military satellites shifted at once. They projected massive reflective shields made of layered plasma and energy fields. The beam struck the shield network instead of a city. The sky flashed white. The impact shook the atmosphere. Windows shattered across several countries. Power flickered in many places. But the planet was still standing. Inside the alien flagship, officers stared in shock. They redirected the strike. One said. How? Another whispered. Before the commander could respond, General Marcus gave his order. Return fire. All stations. From deserts, mountains, and oceans, the hidden rail cannons fired. The sound was like thunder rolling across the planet. Massive tungsten rods launched upward at extreme speed. They tore through the atmosphere and into space. The first strike hit a cruiser directly below the flagship. The ship split apart in a bright explosion. The second shot pierced a carrier vessel. Fighters inside were destroyed before they could launch. More shots followed. This time, the alien shield struggled to adapt. Earth was not firing from one direction. It was firing from everywhere. Above the battlefield, space filled with burning debris. Inside the command center, officers watched the destruction carefully. Enemy formation breaking, a technician reported. Good, Hayes said. Do not let them regroup. But the aliens were not helpless. The Armada spread out, creating distance between ships. Smaller vessels moved to intercept incoming projectiles. Defensive beams shot down several human strikes mid-flight. For every alien ship destroyed, Earth lost a platform. The battle became a brutal exchange. In cities around the world, people heard distant thunder from the giant cannons. News channels showed flashes in the sky. Social media filled with images of burning alien ships. Something was changing inside humanity. This was no longer fear. It was anger. The Imperial commander stood silently as damage reports filled his display. This world was classified as low threat, an officer said quietly. The commander's voice became cold. Then our intelligence was wrong. He looked at Earth below. This species does not break. It prepares. He gave another order. Deploy infiltration units. Take their command centers. Cut off their leadership. Small stealth ships separated from the fleet. They powered down most of their energy signatures and moved toward Earth. On human radar, they barely appeared. In the underground command center, a junior analyst noticed something strange. Sir, small movement patterns near the fleet edge. Marcus leaned forward. Show me. Tiny flickers appeared on the screen. Stealth craft, Hayes said softly. Marcus nodded slowly. They think cutting off the head will stop the body. He turned to a communications officer. Activate Protocol Black. Across several hidden facilities, special response teams prepared. Not regular soldiers. Not standard equipment. These were units trained for the worst-case scenario. If the enemy reached the ground, they would not find weakness. They would find something waiting. Above Earth, the stealth ships entered the atmosphere quietly. The Imperial commander believed this would end the resistance quickly. But he did not understand one thing. Humanity had been afraid of invasion for centuries. And when humans feared something long enough, they learned how to kill it. They were small compared to the massive warships in orbit.
Smooth, dark, fast.
Their systems were designed to avoid detection. But Earth was watching. In the underground command center, small red marks moved across the screen. Multiple stealth signatures confirmed, a technician said. Heading toward high-level command zones. General Marcus did not look surprised. They're coming for leadership, he said. Admiral Hayes nodded. They think if we fall, Earth falls. Marcus gave the order calmly. Seal outer sectors. Begin counter-infiltration. Deep beneath the surface, heavy blast doors closed. Defense turrets activated in long steel corridors. Hidden sensors powered on. Above ground, the first stealth ship landed near a mountain facility. Its hull shimmered as it powered down. A ramp opened. Alien soldiers stepped out. They moved with precision.
Tall.
Armored. Weapons glowing faint blue. Their helmets scanned the area for life signs. They found many. But the signals were not running away. The first explosion came from under their feet. A hidden mine tore through the landing zone. 2 alien soldiers were thrown into the air. Gunfire erupted from reinforced bunkers carved into the mountain walls. Heavy machine guns and plasma cannons fired together. The aliens returned fire instantly. Blue beams cut through concrete and metal. Human defenders fell. But more stepped forward. Inside the facility, special response units moved into position. Black armor. Magnetic rifles. Thermal visors. They had trained for this moment for years. When the aliens breached the outer wall, they expected confusion. Instead, they walked into a narrow corridor. The lights shut off. The doors sealed behind them.
Then the humans attacked.
Flash grenades exploded. High-powered rounds pierced alien armor at weak points already studied from earlier battles. The fight was close and brutal. No long-range strikes. No safe distance. One alien raised its weapon. A human soldier tackled it to the ground and fired point-blank through the visor. Within minutes, the corridor was silent. Elsewhere across the planet, similar battles took place. In a coastal city, another stealth ship landed near a naval base. Alien troops advanced toward command buildings. But the base had been evacuated. When the invaders entered the main structure, automated turrets dropped from the ceiling. Walls opened, revealing rocket pods. The entire building had become a trap. The explosion shook the harbor. Above Earth, the Imperial commander received fragmented reports. Infiltration units encountering heavy resistance. Command centers fortified beyond expectation. Casualties increasing. The commander's jaw tightened.
They planned for this, he said.
On Earth, Marcus studied the tactical map. They're probing, he said. Testing. Hayes crossed her arms. Then we show them the cost. More alien ships began landing, this time not stealth craft, but assault carriers. They no longer aimed only for leadership targets. They chose major cities. This was punishment. In London, dark shapes blocked the sun. Crowds ran through the streets as emergency broadcasts guided them to underground shelters. Alien dropships slammed into the city center. Soldiers marched out, weapons ready. They expected panic. They found resistance. Barricades had already been built. Armed police, military units, and civilian volunteers stood together. Drone swarms filled the air like metal birds. The first wave of aliens advanced. Missiles streaked through the sky. Buildings shook as both sides exchanged fire. Civilians did not scatter blindly. They followed instructions. Medical teams worked in subway tunnels. Supplies moved through hidden passages. Humanity was not collapsing.
It was adapting.
In the command center, a new alert appeared. Large enemy energy spike detected from orbit, a technician warned. Marcus looked up. They are preparing another major strike. Hayes studied the fleet formation. They're angry now. Marcus gave a slow nod. Good. He turned to the communications officer. Broadcast the message. Across open alien channels, a signal pushed through. A simple sentence translated into Imperial code. You chose this. On the alien flagship, the commander read the intercepted message. His eyes narrowed. He had conquered many worlds. Most had begged for mercy. This one sent warnings. Below, ground fighting continued. Alien soldiers pushed forward in some areas, but every block cost them lives. Every building was defended. Every street watched. Earth was bleeding.
But it was not bowing.
As night fell over parts of the planet, fires burned in cities. Smoke rose into the sky. The Imperial Armada still dominated orbit. But something had changed. The invasion was no longer clean. It was becoming expensive. And humanity was done holding back. Smoke rose into the sky while alien ships still filled orbit above. The ground battles had not stopped. In some places, alien forces pushed forward. In others, they were trapped and destroyed. Both sides were losing soldiers. But only one side was fighting for home. Inside the underground command center, the air felt heavy. Large screens showed live battles from around the world. Casualty numbers scrolled quietly in the corner. General Marcus stood still, watching. Admiral Hayes walked toward him. They're shifting formation again, she said. The main fleet is moving closer to low orbit. Marcus studied the display. The largest alien ship remained in the center. It was still glowing faintly from earlier weapon use. They want a final show of power, Marcus said. At that moment, every screen on Earth flickered again. The alien commander appeared.
Tall.
Armored. Eyes cold and bright. His voice echoed across the planet. People of Earth, your resistance is impressive, but meaningless. Half your cities burn. Your forces weaken. Surrender now, and only half your population will be enslaved. Continue and your species ends. The message repeated twice. Then it ended. Silence followed. In homes, shelters, and bunkers, people listened carefully. No one cheered. No one cried. They waited. Inside the command center, all eyes turned to Marcus. He did not answer immediately. Finally, he spoke quietly. Open global channel. Within seconds, every screen on Earth activated again. This time, there was no alien image. Only a simple view of Earth from orbit. Marcus' voice spoke clearly. There will be no surrender.
He paused.
No more warnings. The broadcast ended. Hayes looked at him. That's it. That's enough, he replied. He turned to the main operations table. Begin Phase 3. Across secret facilities worldwide, systems that had never been tested in real combat powered on. In deep underground labs, captured alien technology had been studied nonstop since the first destroyed ships fell to Earth. Engineers had worked without sleep. Scientists had broken codes. Artificial intelligence systems had analyzed alien energy patterns. Now they were ready. Above Earth, something unexpected happened. Several disabled alien ships, previously drifting as debris, suddenly powered on. Lights flickered inside their broken hulls. On the Imperial flagship, alarms screamed. Unknown signal detected inside wreckage. Before the commander could respond, the damaged ships changed direction. They accelerated directly toward the main alien fleet. "They are using our vessels," an officer shouted. Earth had not only studied alien weapons, it had hacked them. Human AI systems, connected through quantum communication networks, had taken control of partially functional alien ships.
Engines were forced online.
Collision paths were calculated instantly. The first stolen ship slammed into a cruiser. The explosion lit up orbit. The second collided with a carrier vessel, destroying dozens of fighters still docked inside. Chaos spread through the Armada. Meanwhile, from hidden positions near the moon, long-range missile platforms launched silently. These were not nuclear weapons. They carried focused EMP warheads designed specifically to disrupt alien shield systems. When they detonated among clustered enemy ships, several shields flickered and failed at once. That was the opening. From Earth's surface, the largest rail cannons fired together. The sound shook mountains. 3 tungsten rods traveled through space at impossible speed. The first missed the flagship by a narrow distance. The second struck one of its outer shield nodes. The third hit directly beneath its command section. The massive ship did not explode, but cracks spread across its hull. Inside, the Imperial commander was thrown to the floor as systems failed around him. "How?" one officer whispered in fear. The commander rose slowly. "This species adapts too quickly." Below, ground forces began receiving new orders. "Push forward," Marcus commanded. Human units that had been defending now advanced. Alien landing zones were attacked from multiple sides. Supply lines were cut off. Drones hunted retreating enemy squads. Captured alien weapons were turned back against their owners. In London, alien troops attempted to regroup near the river. They were surrounded. In another city, an alien dropship tried to take off. It never left the ground. Above Earth, the once perfect formation of the Imperial Armada was breaking apart. Ships drifted out of alignment. Communication signals became unstable. For the first time since arriving, the invaders were losing control. In the command center, Hayes watched the battlefield carefully. "They didn't expect retaliation on this level," she said. Marcus nodded once. "They thought we would fight to survive." He looked at the burning image of the alien fleet. They were wrong. Earth was no longer fighting to survive. Earth was fighting to end the threat completely. Above the planet, damaged alien ships began pulling back slightly, trying to regroup. But humanity had already made its decision. There would be no surrender, no negotiation, and no mercy. Ships that once held perfect formation now drifted apart. Fires burned across damaged hulls. Broken metal floated between vessels.
But the fleet was still massive.
And still dangerous. Inside the underground command center, General Marcus studied the battlefield carefully. Alien ships were pulling slightly higher into orbit, trying to create distance from Earth's rail cannons. "They're regrouping," Admiral Hayes said. "Trying to reset the fight." Marcus nodded. "Good. Let them." Hayes looked at him. "You want them higher?" "Yes." On the main display, Earth's orbital platforms appeared damaged and scattered. Many had already been destroyed. Others drifted slowly, silent and powerless. To alien scanners, it looked like human defenses were weakening. Above Earth, the Imperial commander watched carefully. "Their orbital fire has slowed," an officer reported. "Energy output from surface cannons decreasing." The commander studied the data. Human resistance had been fierce, but perhaps it was reaching its limit. "Advance the primary line," he ordered. "Move into medium orbit. Prepare sustained bombardment." Large alien warships obeyed. They descended closer to Earth. Once more. Inside the human command center, no one celebrated. Marcus spoke quietly. "Confirm all units in position. All lunar platforms ready. All deep space mines armed. Suborbital launch systems prepared." Hayes looked at him one last time. "Once this begins, there's no turning back." Marcus did not hesitate. There was never going to be. Above the planet, the alien fleet crossed an invisible boundary. Nothing happened at first. Then space lit up. From behind the moon, hidden human platforms powered on. They had remained dark since the invasion began, their systems masked against detection. Now they fired. Long-range missiles streaked toward the densest cluster of alien ships. These were not normal explosives. Each carried compact fusion warheads designed to detonate in controlled patterns. The first wave hit the outer shield line. Bright flashes filled orbit. Alien shields flickered violently. Before they could recover, the second part of the trap activated. Dozens of small objects that had been drifting quietly in space suddenly powered up. They were mines, placed years ago under the excuse of space debris monitoring systems. Now they moved with purpose. They accelerated directly into the alien formation and detonated at close range. Shockwaves rolled through the fleet. Inside the flagship, alarm screamed again. Multiple internal explosions, shield grid failing in sectors 3 and 5. The commander slammed his hand against the control console. They planned this battlefield, he growled. Below, Marcus gave the final command. Surface batteries. Fire at will. Earth's largest rail cannons unleashed everything they had. Massive tungsten rods launched in rapid sequence. This time, alien shields were unstable from mine blasts and missile impacts. The first rod tore through a destroyer cleanly. The second struck a carrier at its center, splitting it apart. The third and fourth hit the same heavy cruiser, breaking it into flaming sections. Orbit became chaos. Alien ships tried to spread out, but their formation was already compromised. Communication interference from earlier EMP strikes returned, amplified by the new explosions. Fighters launched in panic, only to be cut down by human drone swarms rising from lower orbit. The Imperial commander tried to restore order. Pull back. Regain high orbit. But it was too late. Human engineers had calculated everything carefully. As damaged alien ships attempted emergency jumps, another system activated. A network of energy disruptors, hidden near key jump vectors, released powerful bursts of interference. Several alien ships attempting faster-than-light escape suffered catastrophic failures. One cruiser tore itself apart mid-jump. Another vanished in a flash of uncontrolled energy. Inside the command center, silence filled the room as officers watched the destruction. Hayes spoke softly. They're trapped. Marcus nodded. Above Earth, the once proud Armada was now broken into isolated groups. Some ships were burning. Others drifted powerless. A few still fought back fiercely, firing heavy beams toward the planet. One such beam struck near a coastal city, causing massive damage. Marcus saw the report and clenched his jaw. They're still dangerous. Yes, Hayes replied. But they're losing. In orbit, the flagship remained intact, though heavily damaged. It began charging its main weapon again, desperate and unstable. The Imperial commander looked at Earth below. This world was not like the others. It did not kneel. It did not beg. It hunted. He gave one final order. Prepare all remaining forces for direct assault. If we fall, we take their planet with us. On Earth, sensors detected the energy spike instantly. Marcus looked at the growing light above. They're going for everything. Hayes gave a slow breath. Then so are we. Outside, the sky burned brighter than ever. The trap had worked. But the war was not over yet. It was damaged, but not destroyed. Cracks ran along its outer hull. Fires flickered in broken sections. Yet it remained the largest ship in orbit. And its main weapon was charging again. Inside Earth's command center, every sensor was locked onto it. Energy levels rising fast, a technician reported. If it fires at full strength, it could break through our shield network. General Marcus stared at the glowing giant in space. We cannot let it fire. Admiral Hayes nodded once. Agreed. Marcus turned to a separate screen. Activate captured vessels. 3 alien ships, taken earlier and repaired by human engineers, powered on near the edge of orbit. Their hulls were scarred. Their markings were altered. But their engines worked. Inside them were human crews. These were volunteers. They knew the mission. Their goal was simple: board the flagship. Disable it from within. The ships accelerated toward the damaged alien giant. On the flagship, scanners detected familiar signatures. Returning vessels approaching, an alien officer said. The commander looked up. They survived. He did not yet understand. The captured ships approached slowly, broadcasting standard Imperial signals that human engineers had copied from earlier battles. For a brief moment, the flagship lowered parts of its defensive grid to allow docking clearance. That was enough. The human ships surged forward at maximum speed. 2 were destroyed by last-second defensive fire. The third slammed directly into a damaged section of the flagship's outer hull. The impact shook both vessels violently. Inside the human assault ship, lights flickered. Docking breach confirmed. A soldier shouted. The boarding team moved fast. Heavy armor, magnetic boots, pulse rifles loaded and ready. They cut through the hull with plasma torches. Metal screamed. Then the wall gave way. They entered the flagship. The corridor inside was dark and filled with smoke. Alien emergency lights flashed red. Move, the team leader ordered. They advanced carefully. Alien soldiers arrived quickly. The first exchange of fire was brutal and close. Blue plasma bolts struck human shields. Human pulse rounds pierced weak points in alien armor. The corridor filled with sparks and bodies. Above Earth, the flagship's weapon charge paused briefly as internal systems shifted power to defense. Inside the command center, Hayes noticed immediately. They're diverting energy. Marcus nodded. The boarding team has their attention. The human soldiers pushed deeper into the ship. They had studied the layout from captured data. They knew roughly where the power core and weapon control center were located. But resistance grew stronger. At an intersection, heavy alien troops blocked their path. The firefight lasted minutes that felt like hours. 2 human soldiers fell. The others kept moving. They were not there to survive. They were there to finish it. On the flagship's bridge, the Imperial commander finally understood. They are inside, an officer whispered. The commander's eyes burned with anger. Seal internal sectors. Flood breached corridors with plasma gas. Inside the ship, warning alarms echoed in alien language. The human team's scanners detected rising heat levels. They're trying to burn us out, one soldier said. The leader made a fast decision. Split. Team 1, plant charges on the secondary core. Team 2, with me. They ran. Behind them, alien soldiers chased through smoke and fire. Team 1 reached the secondary power chamber. It was massive, glowing with unstable energy. They placed explosive charges along critical nodes. Charges set. Timer. 5 minutes. Meanwhile, Team 2 reached the primary weapon control room. Heavy doors blocked the entrance. The leader pulled out a shaped charge and attached it. Clear. The explosion blew the doors inward. Inside, alien technicians turned in shock. The humans opened fire. In orbit, the flagship's weapon began to overload. Energy surged wildly across its surface. Inside the command center on Earth, technicians shouted. Massive power instability detected. Marcus leaned forward. Is it enough? Before anyone could answer, a massive explosion tore through the side of the flagship. Team 1's charges detonated. The secondary core collapsed. Energy feedback shot through the ship's systems. Moments later, the primary weapon chamber exploded from within. The boarding team did not escape. The flagship split apart in space. A shockwave rippled through orbit. Burning fragments drifted away from the shattered remains of the Imperial command ship. In the underground command center, silence filled the room. Then a technician spoke softly. The flagship is destroyed. Above Earth, the remaining alien ships began to break formation. Without their command vessel, coordination collapsed. For the first time since the invasion began, the Imperial Armada looked defeated. Marcus watched the burning wreckage slowly drift across the stars. They came to conquer, he said quietly. Hayes crossed her arms. They miscalculated. But several alien ships were still intact, and some were turning away, attempting to flee. Marcus saw it. Track every escaping vessel, he ordered. His voice was calm, but there was no mercy left in it. Its broken pieces drifted in silence above Earth. Fire faded slowly into darkness. The once proud center of the Imperial Armada was now debris. But the war was not finished. Several alien ships were still alive, and they were running. Inside Earth's command center, red markers on the screen began moving away from the planet. Multiple vessels charging jump drives, a technician reported. They are preparing to leave the system. Admiral Hayes looked at General Marcus. If they escape, they will return with more. Marcus did not hesitate. Then none of them escape. He turned to the operations table. Authorized pursuit. There was no debate. Above Earth, human-controlled alien ships adjusted course. Engines flared bright. New drive systems, once foreign and mysterious, now responded to human hands. In secret labs over the past days, scientists had broken the basic code of alien faster-than-light travel. It was not perfect. It was dangerous. But it worked. Near the edge of orbit, 3 damaged Imperial cruisers powered up their jump drives. Blue light surrounded them as space bent and twisted. Jump signatures forming, a technician said. Disruptor network? Hayes asked. Partially damaged, but operational. Marcus nodded once. Fire. Hidden stations near deep space routes released focused energy bursts toward the forming jump fields. One cruiser's drive failed instantly. The ship tore apart in a violent explosion. Another lost control and drifted powerless. But the third escaped. A flash of light.
And it was gone.
Silence filled the room. Marcus looked at the empty spot on the screen. Track the exit vector. Coordinates appeared. Hayes spoke carefully. We have never attempted long-range pursuit. Marcus gave a slow breath. We do not wait for the next invasion. He turned to the fleet control officers. Prepare pursuit group. Within minutes, 5 captured alien ships and 2 heavily modified human-built vessels aligned at the edge of the system. Crews sat ready inside tight cockpits. These were not large fleets. They were fast strike teams. Above Earth, families watched the sky clear slowly as debris burned in the atmosphere. Many believed the war was ending. They were wrong. Inside the pursuit ships, engines roared louder. Jump calculations locked, a pilot reported. Marcus gave the final order. Go. One by one, the ships vanished into streaks of blue light. They left Earth's orbit for the first time in active combat. Moments later, they reappeared near the outer edge of the solar system. The fleeing Imperial cruiser was ahead, damaged but still moving toward another jump. Human ships accelerated. The alien vessel detected them and opened fire immediately. Blue beams flashed through space. One human ship took a direct hit and spun away, damaged but not destroyed. The others spread out, attacking from different angles. Disable engines, the strike commander ordered. Missiles launched. Railguns fired. Plasma rounds struck weakened shield sections. The Imperial cruiser fought desperately. It was no longer fighting to conquer. It was fighting to survive. A human missile finally pierced its engine core. The cruiser's drive exploded in a burst of light. The ship drifted helplessly. Inside, alien officers tried to restart systems. They failed. The human fleet surrounded the disabled vessel. A message was sent: surrender and power down. There was no reply. Instead, the alien ship began charging its weapons again, even in defeat. The human commander's face hardened. Understood. Rail cannons fired at close range. The Imperial cruiser shattered into burning fragments. Farther away, the second damaged alien ship that had lost its jump capability tried to repair itself. It did not get the chance. Human ships arrived minutes later. There was no offer this time. It was destroyed quickly. Back on Earth, the command center received confirmation. All fleeing vessels eliminated. The room was quiet. Hayes looked at Marcus. It's over. Marcus stared at the empty tactical display. Is it?
He zoomed out the map.
Beyond the solar system, deep space stretched endlessly. The empire that sent the Armada still existed somewhere out there. And now, they knew Earth could fight. Marcus turned to the communications officer. Prepare transmission. Using captured Imperial channels, a powerful signal was broadcast into deep space. The message was short. Earth does not surrender. A pause.
Come again.
We will finish you. The signal traveled outward at the speed of light. In orbit, only wreckage remained. The sky above Earth slowly returned to normal. But humanity had crossed a line. It had left its world to hunt. And it had decided something important. The next war would not be fought at Earth's doorstep. Wreckage drifted silently across orbit. The flagship and most warships were destroyed. But one vessel remained, a massive dreadnought, heavily armed and desperate. It hovered near Jupiter's orbit. Its weapons glowed, ready to unleash a final, planet-killer strike. The last survivors of the Imperial fleet had gathered around it, hoping to turn the tide. On Earth, General Marcus stared at the live feed. That's the last one, he said. Admiral Hayes shook her head. If it fires, it could destroy everything near Jupiter. The shockwave alone could ruin our outer colonies. Marcus clenched his jaw. Then it cannot fire. Below, scientists and engineers calculated the impossible. The dreadnought's shields were immense, designed to withstand multiple strikes. Its main weapon could vaporize entire cities. Every plan they had made before would not work alone. Combination attack, Marcus said. Surface cannons, orbital railguns, and retrofitted alien ships. All at once. We hit faster than it can react. Hayes looked worried. And the boarding team? They go last, Marcus replied. Once the weapon is disabled. In space, human ships approached cautiously. Several had been rebuilt from captured alien technology. Their engines flared as they closed the distance to the dreadnought. Inside the dreadnought, alien officers worked frantically. They are here. Target them. Blue beams shot at the incoming ships. One exploded instantly, another spun out of control. But the human pilots pressed on, weaving between fire and debris. Surface cannons ready. A technician reported on Earth. All orbital platforms aligned. Fire at will, Marcus ordered. A series of massive rods launched simultaneously from every hidden railgun. Traveling at unimaginable speed, they tore through space. The dreadnought's shields flared, trying to absorb the impact. Sparks and explosions tore across its hull. Systems overloaded. The alien crew scrambled, attempting repairs as energy surged uncontrollably. But Marcus had planned for this. From hidden positions near Jupiter, human orbital mines detonated in calculated patterns. Shockwaves spread across space, shaking the dreadnought's hull. Its engines wobbled under the force. Inside the command center, Hayes muttered, "They can't hold it." The dreadnought fired its main weapon. A massive blue beam shot into space. It missed Earth completely, but the recoil damaged the ship further. Fire spread along the corridors. Smoke filled the bridge. The alien commander's eyes widened in disbelief. "They're inside," one officer gasped. Human boarding ships, smaller and faster, approached the crippled dreadnought. Magnetic grapplers attached to the hull. Airlocks were forced open. Inside, human soldiers advanced through broken corridors. Alien defenders were desperate. They fought fiercely, but every corridor funneled them into traps. Grenades, pulse rifles, and close combat forced them back. The boarding team reached the engine core. Sparks and molten metal covered the walls. "Charges in place," the team leader said. Timer set 3 minutes. Simultaneously, another team entered the main weapon chamber. It was massive, glowing with energy, ready to fire again. Humans placed shaped explosives at the control nodes. The countdown began. In orbit, human ships attacked remaining turrets, disabling them one by one. Railguns fired again, striking weakened sections of the hull. Every system on the dreadnought groaned under coordinated assault. Inside the main chamber, energy readings spiked. The alien commander tried to override the damage. Systems failed. Sparks shot across the control panels. 3, 2, 1. The charges detonated simultaneously. Inside the dreadnought, fire, smoke, and molten metal consumed the corridors. The main weapon overloaded. Explosions spread through the ship, tearing it apart from the inside out. In orbit, massive fireballs erupted. Fragments of the dreadnought scattered across space. Smaller vessels caught near the blast were destroyed instantly. The remaining alien ships attempted to flee, but their formations were destroyed. Human fighters pursued them relentlessly. The surviving vessels had nowhere to hide. One by one, they were either destroyed or disabled. Back on Earth, silence fell across the command center. The last confirmation came in. All enemy vessels destroyed. Marcus exhaled slowly. It's done. Hayes shook her head, looking at the screens. They underestimated us completely. Marcus nodded. They thought fear and numbers would win. They did not expect unity, strategy, or resilience. They did not expect humanity. Across the world, people stared at the night sky. Satellites showed burning debris slowly drifting into the void. They had survived the greatest invasion in history. But they were not celebrating. They were watching, aware of the universe beyond their planet. Somewhere out there, other civilizations would take notice of what Earth had done. Marcus turned to Hayes. Send the message. A single broadcast went into deep space using captured Imperial channels. Earth does not surrender. Earth will not forgive. Any who come will meet the same fate. On the screens, distant stars blinked. Somewhere, alien civilizations would hear. And they would know. For the first time in history, humanity had not only survived an invasion, they had destroyed the invaders completely. But this was more than survival. This was a warning. The Imperial Armada was gone. And Earth had proven one undeniable truth. Do not underestimate humanity. The war was over. But the story of humanity's rise had just begun. If you want, I can now write part 10, a warning to the stars, to finish the story with a strong HFY ending that shows Earth's future dominance and resolve. Do you want me to do that next? No alien ships hovered above. No shadowed fleets blocked the sun. Only the glow of fires and drifting wreckage remained, slowly cooling in orbit. Humanity had survived the Imperial Armada. They had won. But no one on Earth celebrated yet. The cost had been high. Cities were in ruins, millions had died, and every nation bore scars. The streets were quiet, filled with the smoke and ash of battle. Yet, beneath the silence, a new determination pulsed. Humanity had learned the truth about the universe. No one waited for them. They had to fight first. Inside the underground command center, General Marcus watched the orbital feed. He saw burned hulls drifting past satellites, remnants of ships that once thought they could conquer Earth. Each fragment told a story of human ingenuity and ruthlessness. They underestimated us, Marcus said quietly. Admiral Hayes nodded. They thought fear would work. They thought their numbers and technology meant nothing could stop them. They were wrong. Marcus leaned back. We've shown them the cost of attacking humanity. But that's not enough. We need to make sure no one tries again. Hayes crossed her arms. You mean a message? Yes, Marcus replied. One the stars will not forget. Outside, massive communication arrays that had been captured and repurposed from the Imperial fleet powered up. Engineers from all nations worked together to broadcast a single signal into deep space. The message was simple, but unmistakable. Earth was alive, ready, and dangerous. The broadcast began. To all civilizations within reach of the system, Earth does not surrender. Earth does not negotiate with invaders. Any who attempt to conquer, enslave, or harm this planet will be destroyed. Humanity has survived the greatest armada in history. Those who come will meet the same fate. The signal spread across light years, using the advanced transmission technology reverse-engineered from the invaders. Somewhere in the galaxy, other species would receive it. Somewhere, commanders who had never seen resistance like this would pause. On Earth, people watched the skies. Children pressed against windows, hoping to see the stars. Soldiers, scientists, and civilians alike understood what had been accomplished. Humanity had survived the impossible, and now it had announced its presence to the universe. In orbit, debris continued to drift silently. Human engineers began salvaging pieces of alien technology, studying what remained. Every destroyed ship was an opportunity to learn, to grow, to prepare. Humanity would not wait for the next attack. They would be ready. Marcus walked among the officers in the command center. His eyes were steady, his expression calm, but inside, he felt a quiet pride. Humanity had faced extinction and had not only survived but fought back with strength, strategy, and determination. Hayes joined him. "Do you think anyone will try again?" Marcus smiled faintly. "Some will. But they'll know better. They'll know Earth does not bow." Far above, the last fragments of the Imperial Armada floated toward the asteroid belt. They were silent, powerless, a warning in themselves. The survivors would carry stories of Earth's strength back to their civilizations. Every corner of the galaxy that heard those stories would remember, humanity fights, and it does not forgive. On the ground, cities began to rebuild. Soldiers returned home. Families reunited. Communication networks restarted. The scars of battle would remain for decades, but humanity's resolve had never been stronger. From deserts to mountains, from oceans to forests, humans looked to the sky and understood one undeniable truth. The universe was vast and dangerous, but Earth was no longer just a small, defenseless world. It was a fortress. It was a warning.
And it was alive.
Marcus turned one last time to the screens.
We survived.
We fought. We won. But this is only the beginning. Hayes nodded, understanding. Humanity had been tested and had proven itself. Now, it would not wait for threats. It would shape the future. Across the globe, people continued their work. Children played in the ruins. Engineers rebuilt machines. Scientists analyzed the captured alien technology. Humanity would grow stronger,
Faster.
smarter. Every victory, every loss, every lesson would be remembered. Above Earth, the stars stretched endlessly. Somewhere, far beyond human sight, other civilizations were watching. Some would tremble,
Some would prepare.
but all would know the same truth. Earth does not surrender. Earth does not forgive. And anyone who comes will face humanity's full strength. The world had survived the Armada. Humanity had shown the galaxy what it meant to fight with courage, unity, and relentless determination. The message had been sent. The warning had been delivered. And now, the universe would remember Earth. Because Earth would never bow again. Because humanity had won. And humanity was ready for whatever came next. If you want, I can compile all 10 parts into a single polished HFY story, ready to read start to finish with smooth transitions and consistent pacing. It would read like a full novel chaptered version. Do you want me to do that?